Good morning, we're on the record. Good morning, everyone. As chairperson of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board for the District of Columbia, in accordance with DC Official Code Section 2576 of the Open Meetings Act, I am welcoming you to the regular scheduled meeting of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board. This meeting has been conducted pursuant to guidance made available by the District of Columbia's Office of Open Government regarding electronic meetings held by public bodies during the public health emergency. Pursuant to this guidance, notice of today's meeting was provided 48 hours in advance of the meeting on ABRA's website and on the district's central meeting calendar. The notice includes the time, date, agenda, and call-in or login information for public participation. This electronic meeting has been hosted by a WebEx account provided by the District of Columbia government. Please address any questions or complaints to the OOG at opengovoffice@dc.gov. My name is Donovan Anderson. I'm chairman of the board. I would like to introduce the other members of the ABC board who are also participating electronically pursuant to Mayor's Order 2020-054. Please respond when I announce your name. Mr. James Short.
Mr. James Short, present.
Ms. Rafi Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, present.
Ms. Jenny Hansen.
Jenny Hansen, present.
Mr. Edward Grandis. Mr. Grandis. It appears that Mr. Grandis is having some technical difficulties. The board currently has 4 members in attendance for the conduct of business today, and that constitutes a quorum. Before we get underway with today's hearing calendar, I need to make a few instructions very clear so that the conduct of these hearings is understood by everyone. There are 11 cases scheduled for today. Once your case is called, I will take a moment for our IT specialist to elevate the rights for each party to enable their camera and microphone. Then and only then will you have the ability to enable your equipment. If your case has not been heard, you will remain mute and your camera will be disabled. At the conclusion of each case, the parties will have the option to leave. If the party chooses to stay, all cameras and microphones for the concluded case will be disabled. Should you have any questions or require technical assistance during the hearing, please submit them using the question and answer feature or email simone.andrews2@dc.gov. Our first order of business today is a protest hearing status case number 21 PRO 00031 Mart Liquors, license number 108836. Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the rights of the parties in this case? And it's supposed to be a significant amount of people, and along with an interpreter.
Sure, stand by.
And while we're waiting, Mr. Edward Grandis has joined us this morning. So the board now has 5 members in attendance for the conduct of business, and that constitutes a quorum. All right.
Ms. Chang, your rights have been elevated. Mr. or Ms. Chung, your rights have been elevated. Mr. or Ms. Kim, your rights have been elevated. Commissioner Adolfo, your rights have been elevated.
Hello. Everybody hear me? My name is Chrissy Cheng.
Yes, Ms. Chang, just hold on, please. We're just trying to get everyone in line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. O, your rights have been elevated. And Ms. Doyle, your rights have been elevated. If there's anyone else that's joining for this case, could you please send a message in the chat and I will elevate your rights. For now, that's all, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, Ms. Doyle, Mr. Omar, if there are parties on the line whose rights needs to be elevated, please let our IT person know in the chat so their rights can be elevated. If there's anyone participating on the telephone, please let us know so their rights can be elevated. And also, if you're not speaking, I would ask that everyone mute their phone.
Mr. Chair, Mr. or Ms. Chung, you are logged in twice, so you're creating an echo. Thank you.
All right, who is the licensee in this case?
I am.
I don't know who's there's an interpreter here. I'm trying to figure out who is it that the person is interpreting for.
I am the interpreter.
Yes. Who is the person you're supposed to interpret for? Who requires an interpreter?
This is Miss. Sorry, this is Chrissy Chang, and I'm on behalf of Mart Liquor owner, and owners Mrs. Cho and Mr. Chung is in the session right now. And Mr. Chung and Mrs. Cho, I believe the Korean interpreter is for the Mart Liquor's owner, Mr. Chung and Mrs. Cho.
So is Mr. Chung and Mrs. Cho, are they on the line?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right, if they have a camera, can they elevate their rights? Can they turn their camera on? I guess I'm not sure. So I just want to make sure that I'm just trying to make sure. All right. I'm sorry, the interpreter, the interpreter, what's your name, ma'am? Can you please spell and state your name for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Kyung-soo Kim. My first name is Kyongsook, and my last name is Kim, Kim as in Mary.
And what language is this, ma'am?
This will be a Korean interpretation project assignment.
All right, can you raise your right hand, please, ma'am? Do you solemnly affirm that you will faithfully and accurately interpret this proceeding in this matter from English to Korean and from Korean into English to the best of your ability?
I do.
All right, thank you. So what I need you to do, ma'am, is to interpret everything that's been said as we move along, okay?
I will, thank you.
All right, I would like the parties to introduce themselves for the record, and let's start with the applicant.
그러면은 저희가 이제 한 분씩 소개를 할 텐데 일단은 신청인자부터 시작하도록 하겠습니다.
Can you please tell the applicant to spell and state her name for the record, please?
그러면 신청자분께서는 성함을 말씀을 해주신 뒤에 영어 철자를 좀 불러주세요.
Can you tell her that she's on mute, please?
지금 소리가 안 들리거든요. 그래서 지금 뮤트를 언뮤트를 하셔야 돼요.
My name is Yoon Cho, spell it out as E-U-N, and last name C-H-O.
My name is Yoon Jo. It's spelled E-U-N-C-H-O.
All right, good morning. Is she the only owner of the establishment, or there's another owner?
그러면 그 가게의 주인이신 분이 선생님 혼자뿐이세요? 아니면 다른 분이 또 계세요?
My husband is also the owner of the store, and then his name is Dong-ho Chung, D-O-N-G-H-O, and then last name C-H-U-N-G.
Is he present this morning?
No.
All right, thank you. Ms. Chang, can you please identify yourself for the record and please state and spell your name, please?
Sure, my name is Chrissy Chang. My first name C-H-R-I-S-S-I-E. My last name C-H-A-N-G.
And what's your relationship to this case, ma'am?
I am a consultant for the owners.
All right, thank you. All right, can we have the ANC identify themselves? I need the ANC representative to spell and state their name for the record, please.
Greetings. This is Commissioner Salim Adolfo.
Yeah,
My name is spelled Salim. My last name is spelled Adofo.
Thank you. If you're not speaking, please put your phone on mute. Okay. All right. So let's now go through the group of 5 or more. Is Miss Doyle here or is it Miss Johnson? Who's here today for the group of 5 or more?
It is Miss Johnson. My first name is Wanda, spelled Juanda. My last name Johnson, Johnsson.
All right, thank you, Miss Johnson. Is Miss Doyle participating today?
No, she's not. I'm standing in for her. We only need the one participant.
The reason why I'm asking Miss Johnson, because on the screen it says Joyce Dole. So when you speak, it says Joyce Dole. That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was called away to something that was pretty urgent from a very high level, and so she asked me to sit in about an hour ago.
No, that's fine, ma'am. I'm just saying because her name shows up on the screen. That's why I'm asking. But that's fine. Okay. Thank you.
That's great.
All right. Okay. For the group of 5 or more, is Mr. Omar on the line, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you spell and state your name for the record, please?
SHARIFOMAR is the last name.
All right, Mr. Omar. Now, Mr. Omar, do you have 4 additional members with you today, sir?
Yes, sir.
And who are the 4 additional members who can they please spell and state their name for the record, please? You can call their name and have them identify themselves, ma'am. Sir, please.
Okay, hold on one second. They're outside and they go out there.
All right, while we're waiting for Mr. Omar, let me move on to the James Ray group. Is James Ray on the line? Is James Ray on the line? All right. Is there anyone from the James Ray group of 5 or more on the line? Is there a Lorraine Stanilas on the line? Mr. Omar. Mr. Omar. Mr. Omar. Mr. Omar. Mr. Omar.
Yes, sir.
Who are the other members of your group, sir?
So apparently they walked off. We were all outside right here at first waiting for the call to start.
Sir,
They
listen.
walked off. I'm sure they probably went to the store or something, but I guess just go ahead and do what you're gonna do.
Mr. Omar, this hearing was scheduled for 10 o'clock. We start at 10:15. It's 10:34.
Right.
If it's my understanding that conditional standing was granted at the roll call hearing, you were informed that 4 additional members need to show up. I've called the case, and you're telling me that there are not 4 additional members here. So therefore, I am going to make a motion to the board that we dismiss the Omar group of the Omar group of 5 or more because of the failure to provide 5 members between the roll call hearing and the status hearing. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. I'll take a roll call vote on the motion that's current. Is there Mr. Short?
Mr. Short, I abstain.
Miss Crockett?
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson?
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis?
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 4-0-1 with Mr. Short abstaining. So therefore, we have removed the Omar group from as a protestant. Mr. Omar, if this matter moves to a protest hearing, you can participate with either through the ANC or another group if you so desire. All right, thank you. Now, Mr. James Ray, is Mr. James Ray on the line? Mr. James Ray is not on the line. The James Ray group was also granted conditional standing at the roll call hearing. Mr. Ray was informed that 4 additional members must appear today to affirm full standing. Mr. Ray is not here today, so therefore I'm going to make a motion that the James Ray group be dismissed as a protestant in this case. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short?
Mr. Short, I abstain.
Mr. Short. Ms. Crockett?
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson?
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis?
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 4-0-1 with Mr. Short as Mr. Short has abstained. So therefore, the James Ray group has dismissed as a protestant in this case. So the only 2 groups that are being recognized today are ANC 8C and the Joyce Doyle group that is being represented by Ms. Wanda Johnson. All right. Are there any preliminary matters that needs to be discussed today? Ms. Chang, are you speaking for the ownership group?
Yes, the malt liquors, the owner is Chodepak Inc. Applied for the renewal, the renewal on time, and then the renewal application got protested by a group of protesters, and then we are actually actively working on a settlement agreement with the group led by Ms. Joyce Doyle, and I am waiting for a draft of the settlement agreement from the ANC, the Commissioner Adolfo. We are still waiting for. I do believe that this case can be settled via the satisfactory settlement agreement. You know, I believe it's going to be the beneficial to both, you know, the parties and all community. Yeah, I believe that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chang.
Mhm.
Ms. Kim, you're not doing any translation.
My apologies. 예, 그러면 지금 어떻게 됐냐면은 이제 항의를 하신 그 이제 그룹에서 두 그룹 오마르 그룹하고 오마르 그룹에서 지금 4분 이상을 모시고 와서 이제 항의를 하셔야 되는데 이미 통보를 했음에도 불구하고 하지 않으셨기 때문에 그분들은 기각이 됐고요. 그리고 제임스 레이 그룹 같은 경우에도 지금 4분 이상이 참석을 하셔야 되는데 오늘 이제 저희가 출석을 불렀을 때 참석을 하지 않았기 때문에 프로테스트로서 어떤 기각을 당하셨고요. 지금 이제 그 크리시 쟁 선생님께서는 오늘 이제 선생님께서 지금 그 합의에 대한 어떤 그 문구를 작성을 하고 계시고 그리고 그 이제 선생님께서는 이 사건이 아마도 이렇게 원만한 어떤 합의로 이를 가능성이 어떤 크다고 생각하시고요. 만약에 그렇게 되었을 때 이제 그 지역사회에 도움이 될 것 같다고 말씀을 하셨습니다.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Doyle, I'm sorry, Mr. Adolfo. Any preliminary matters you want to bring to the attention of the board?
그러면은 아돌프 씨 어떤 예배적인 문제가 있으면은 말씀을 좀 해주십시오.
None at this time. We're
Thank
ready
you.
to keep moving forward.
예, 지금은 없고 계속 진행을 하면 되겠습니다.
Ms. Johnson, any preliminary matters you want to bring to the attention of the board?
The only thing I've been asked to bring to the board is that we did forward the document to Mr. Adolfo for his review, and then we're going to send it, when he returns it, we'll send it to Ms. Chang for her review as well.
예, 제가 한 가지 그러면 미스 존슨 씨 예비적인 사안이 있습니까? 제가 가지고 있는 예비적인 사안 그 유일한 것은 저희가 그 아돌프스에게 이제 문건을 보내면은 그분이 리뷰를 해가지고 그거를 미스 쟁이 리뷰를 하게 하려고 그랬었습니다.
Right. Then this matter, if a settlement agreement is not signed, this matter is now scheduled for a protest hearing on August 12th at 1:30 p.m.
Good.
지금 오늘 이제 그 세틀먼트 어그리먼트가 지금 서명이 된 상태가 아니고요. 오늘 이 이제 심리 같은 경우에는 8월 12일 날 오후 1시 30분에 어떤 프로테스트 히어링으로 지금 스케줄이 잡힌 겁니다.
Give me 1 minute, please.
잠깐 기다려 주세요.
All right, now that we have scheduled this matter for protest hearing,
저희가 이제 이걸 그 항의 심리로 스케줄 잡았기 때문에
there are a few things that I would like to instruct you about because the board's practices under the COVID-19 restrictions have changed.
그 코로나 바이러스 제한 사항에 변동 사항이 있기 때문에 저희 보드에서 어떤 실행하고 있는 거에 기초를 해가지고 몇 가지 사항에 대해서 지시사항을 말씀을 드리고자 합니다.
As you know, the board's hearings are conducted virtually.
여러분도 아시겠지만은 이제 저희 히어링이 이렇게 온라인상으로 진행이 되고 있고요.
So it is important than ever that protest hearings are focused and addresses only those issues that are being protested.
그래서 그 어느 때보다도 지금 항의가 된 그 사안에 대해서 집중을 해서 이야기 심리를 진행을 하는 것이 중요합니다.
Following this hearing, you will receive an email from AGC April Randall that will include a copy of the protest information form and a copy of an exhibit form.
오늘 심리가 끝난 후에 선생님들께서는 HC 에이프릴 랜들 씨로부터 이메일을 받게 되는데 거기에 보면은 그 프로테스트 폼하고 그리고 그 증거물에 대한 어떤 사본이 들어가 있습니다.
As well as specific instructions for the hearing.
그리고 그 심리에 대한 어떤 구체적인 어떤 지시사항도 함께 들어 있을 겁니다.
You are required to complete and submit the PIP and exhibit forms at least 7 days before the date of the hearing.
여러분께서는 적어도 7일 이전에는 그 양식하고 증거물을 제출을 하셔야 합니다.
If we do not receive a copy of your forms 7 days before the hearing, your application or your protest may be subject to dismissal.
만약에 여러분께서 7일 이전에 그 양식과 증거물을 제출하지 않으시게 되면은 저희가 그 기각을 할 수도 있습니다. 그 프로테스트에 대해서.
These documents need to be submitted to the ABRA legal and to the opposing parties.
지금 이 문건 같은 경우에는 에브라 리걸과 그리고 그 상대측 그 당사자에게 보내줘야 합니다.
Please know that these documents greatly assist the board in narrowing the protest issues.
여러분께서 이해를 하셔야 될 것은 이 문건이 그 사안을 이렇게 뒷받침하는 그런 문건이어야 된다는 것입니다.
Facilitating the process and keeping the parties on point during the hearing.
그리고 그 심리 동안에 그 당사자들이 어떤 심리를 진행하는데 어떤 심리를 진행하는 거 용이하게 하고 어떤 포인트를 놓치지 않도록 해야 합니다.
Each side is limited to no more than 5 witnesses and you will only have 60 minutes to present your case.
This is the interpreter speaking. Mr. Chair, did you say the limit time is 60 minutes?
Yes.
Thank you.
We can't hear you, ma'am.
My apologies. 그리고 각 당사자께서는 최대한 5분의 증인을 부르실 수가 있고요. 그리고 항변을 하실 수 있는 최대 시간은 60분입니다.
This includes all direct and cross-examination.
그리고 그 60분에 포함된 시간이 직접 신문하고 반대 신문을 포함한 것입니다.
The board does not intend to hear testimony on matters that are not relevant to those issues that are being protested.
저희 위원회에서는 그 사안에 전혀 관련이 없는 어떤 사안에 대한 어떤 프로테스트를 듣지 않을 것입니다.
Any questions by anyone?
여러분 중에서 질문이 있으신 분 계신가요?
All right. We thank you greatly for your cooperation.
여러분의 협조에 대단히 감사드립니다.
If you have any questions at any time leading up to the hearing, please do not hesitate to contact AGE April Randall.
만약에 심리 이전에 여러분 누구라도 질문이 있으시면은 H. April 랜들스에게 연락을 취하시면 됩니다.
And her phone number is 202-329-6354.
Mr. Chair, this is the interpreter confirming the number 202-329-6354.
That is correct.
Thank you. 그리고 그분의 전화번호는 202-329 6354입니다.
Thank everyone for their cooperation and good luck in your negotiations.
예, 그러면 여러분 모두 참석해 주셔서 감사하고요. 오늘 협상을 나중에 잘 해 주시기를 바랍니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
안녕히 계세요.
So everyone from this case can now leave if they so desire.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next case in our calendar is 21 PRO 00032, Fort Carroll Market, license number 091423. This hearing is canceled due to dismissal of the protest, see board order number 2021-356. The next case in our calendar is case number 21 PRO 00033, Town Wine and Liquor, license number 093813. This case is canceled due to the approval of a settlement agreement, see board order number 2021-375. The next case in our calendar is case number 21 PRO 0034, DC Capitol Square Bar and Grill, license number 11800. Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the rights of the parties in this case?
Sure, stand by. Mr. Menorah, your rights have been elevated. Mr. Alberti, your rights have been elevated.
Thank you.
And Mr. Alcorn, your rights have been elevated. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Andrews. All right, can we have the parties introduce themselves for the record? We'll start with the licensee.
My name is Matthew Menorah from the law firm of Malleus O'Brien and Sandground, and we're ABC License Counsel for the licensee, or excuse me, for the applicant.
Mr. Menorah, can you please spell and state your name for the record, please?
Sure. Matthew Menorah, M-A-T-T-H-E-W. The last name is M-I-N-O-R-A.
Good morning. Who is representing the ANC? Who's the ANC representative?
Mr. Alcorn will be.
Great. So I'm Brian Alcorn, first name B-R-I-A-N, last name A-L-C-O-R-N. I am commissioner for 6A08, and I'm representing ANC 6A.
Good morning, Mr. Alcorn. And Mr. Alberti, can you please identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Nick Alberti, N-I-C-K, Alberti, A-L-B-E-R-T-I. Good morning, board members. I'm here as also as a representative of ANC 6A on this matter. Thank you.
And good morning, Mr. Alberti. I just want the record to reflect that as chairman of the ABC board, I've been chairman for the past 6 years, and I believe for the first 4 years of my tenure as chair of the ABC board, Mr. Alberti was a member of the ABC board, and I've served with him. So therefore, I am aware of Mr. Alberti. However, my working with Mr. Alberti as chair of the ABC board and his being a member, I believe does not in any way will influence my determination in this matter.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Short.
I too would like to acknowledge that this is my third term with the board, and I served 2 of those with Mr. Alberti on the ABC board, and that will make no difference or have any influence on my decision today made about this case.
Thank you, Mr. Short. All right. Has everyone who needs to identify themselves identified themselves? All right. Are there any preliminary matters that needs to be brought to the attention, Mr. Menorah?
No, just that the ANC and we are, I think, very close to getting to a settlement agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Menorah. Mr. Alcorn, Are there any preliminary matters you need to make the board aware of, please, sir?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. As Mr. Minora has reflected, representatives from the ANC, the community, and the designated representative and counsel representing the licensee, namely Mr. Minora, met on Tuesday, July 6th in a mediation session facilitated by Laverne Fletcher. Other individuals who work for or represent the applicant on other matters were also present. Parties did not reach a final settlement agreement in that July 6th session, but efforts between representatives of the licensee and the ANC and community toward negotiating and executing a settlement agreement continue. A draft SA settlement agreement is presently circulating among parties. Thanks.
Thank you for that representation, Mr. Alcorn, and thank you also, Mr. Minora. All right. This matter then, if the matter is not scheduled, if this matter is not settled, we will have a protest hearing on August 12th, 2021 at 10 a.m. All right. Now that we have scheduled this matter for a protest hearing, there are a few things that I would like to instruct you about because the board's practices under the COVID-19 restrictions have changed. As you know, the board's hearings are conducted virtually, so it is more important than ever that protest hearings are focused and addresses only those issues that are being protested. Following this hearing, you will be receiving an email from Assistant General Counsel April Randall that will include a copy of a protest information form PIP and a copy of an exhibit form, as well as specific instructions for the hearing. You are required to complete and submit the PIP and exhibit forms at least 7 days before the date of the hearing. If we do not receive a copy of your forms 7 days before the hearing, your application or your protest may be subject to dismissal. Likewise, these documents need to be submitted to aber.legal.dc.gov and to the opposing parties. Please know that these documents greatly assist the board in narrowing the protest issues, facilitating the process, and keeping the parties on point during the hearing. Each side is limited to no more than 5 witnesses, and we do not have any, and you will only have 60 minutes to present your case. This includes all direct and cross-examination. The board does not intend to hear testimony on matters that are not relevant to those issues that are being protested. Are there any questions? All right. We thank you greatly for your cooperation. If you have any questions at any time leading up to the hearing, please do not hesitate to contact Assistant General Counsel April Randall at 202-329-6354 or contact her by email. Good luck in your negotiations, and if I don't see you on April 12th, the board will not take that personally because I will tell the board and instruct the board that the parties have agreed to a settlement that works to the benefit of the licensee and the neighborhood. All right, so thank you very much for your participation this morning and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The next case in our calendar is case number 21 PRO 00036, O'Connor's Liquors, license number 060231. This case is continued to August 4th, 2021 at 10:30 a.m. See board order number 2021-395. The next case on our calendar is case number 21 PRO 00037, Tony's Market, license number 102043. This hearing is canceled due to the approval of a settlement agreement. See board order number 2021-376. The next case on our calendar is case number 21 PRO 00038, Urban Rose District Eats the Hound, license number 115513. This hearing is canceled. A settlement agreement has been submitted for the board's review and approval. The next case on our calendar is case number 21 PRO 00039, Seymour's Liquors, license number 112303. This case is canceled due to the dismissal of the application at roll call. See board order number 2021-369. The next case on our calendar is case number 21 PRO 00040, Sylvia's Liquors, license number 104606. Ms. Andrews, can you please elevate the rights of the parties in this case?
Sure, stand by. Mr. or Ms. Nam Jung, your rights have been elevated. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. If there's anyone on the line that belongs to this case, please acknowledge yourself in the chat and I will elevate your rights.
Yes, I'm here. Sylvia Licosto.
Hold on 1 minute, please, sir. Is there anyone here from ANC 5D?
Okay, I see a few people in the chat. 1 second, Mr. Chair.
All right.
Ms. Gibbs, your rights have been elevated. Who else? That's all, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Let's start the let the parties introduce themselves for the record. Let's start with the licensee. Please spell and state your name for the record. Who's the licensee? Who owns this establishment?
Nam Young-jung and Hye Jung-na.
Can you please
Sure.
spell and state your name, please, ma'am?
Okay. My first name is Hye. Last name is N-A.
And what's your relationship to this establishment, ma'am?
I'm a secretary of Sylvia Liquors.
I mean, you're the secretary of the board, or you're to explain to me what your role is, ma'am?
That's just title, but I'm a owner's wife. The owner.
Is the owner, are you on the license, ma'am?
Yes.
All right, now is your husband on the line also?
Yes.
Can he please identify himself by spelling and stating his name for the record, please?
Can I explain it to him? I don't, he understood.
Okay, ma'am. Go ahead, please.
이름 말하고 스펠링 하나하나 얘기해. Owner of liquor store라고 owner of Sylvia Liquor라고 얘기하고.
I'm Sylvia Licosto owner. My name is Nam Young-jung. First name is N-A-M. Middle name is Y-O-U-N-G. Last name is J-O-U-N-G.
All right, good morning. I'm sorry, ma'am. What's your last name again, please, ma'am?
J-O-U.
No, not you, sir. Your wife. I'm sorry. What's your last name again?
My last name is N-A.
Na, how you pronounce that, please, ma'am?
Na is correct.
I'm sorry?
Na is correct.
All right, Ms. Na, if this matter goes to a protest hearing,
yes.
If your husband requires a translator, can you please instruct you can request a translator from the agency.
Okay, I think he will need it.
All right. So, but I'm just saying. So, if it goes to a protest hearing, please have your husband request a translator from the agency and let us know what language he requires translation services.
Will, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, who represents the ANC?
Good morning, Chairman Donovan. My name is Ronald Dixon, R-O-N-A-L-D, D-I-X-O-N. I'm counsel for ANC 5D. I'm also joined by co-counsel, Ms. Madison Gibbs, and we're ready to proceed.
And could Ms. Gibbs identify herself for the record, please?
Yes, good morning, Chair Anderson. Madison Gibbs, co-counsel for ANC 5D. Madison, M-A-D-I-S-O-N, Gibbs, G-I-B-B-S.
And is there I know that your And so, Mr. Dixon, you're an attorney, sir?
Ronald Dixon, yes, I am, Chairman, yeah.
Yes. And is the agency going to be here today, or you're just representing them in your capacity?
I do not believe that the ANC is going to be here. I received my instructions from Ms. Sylvia Moore, Sadell Moore, who's the chair for ANC 5D, but we're ready to proceed.
All right. All right. Are there any preliminary matters in this case that needs to be brought to the attention of the board?
Yes, if I may, Chairman Anderson, the ANC and the applicants have had extensive negotiations with reference to the outstanding protest. I would note, just for the record, that there was a previous settlement agreement entered in 2018 with reference to the applicant in issues at the establishment of 1818 Benning Road Northeast. I can represent, and Ms. Na is on the line, and she can agree with this, that we have spoken and we're trying to work this out. However, we have not reached a signed agreement as yet. So what we would ask the board to do is set this matter down for a protest hearing.
All right. And Mr. Dixon, if during your negotiations, if it's determined that a translator is required, both sides can ask ABRA to provide a translator if that will help the process, if that will facilitate the process. I'm just saying that's available. Okay, sir?
If I may, Chairman Anderson, I think we can pursue that, but I would leave that to the applicant because I don't want to overstep my bounds with reference to my perception of who or may or may not need an interpreter, but I'll leave that to the applicant. But I appreciate your offer.
I'm making the parties aware that in order to facilitate the process, we can provide a translator. So I'm not saying that you need to request one on behalf. I'm just saying if it will help facilitate the process and if there's a language barrier issue, the agency can assist in making a translator available. That's all I'm putting out there, nothing else there. Neither am I saying that anyone requires a translator. I'm just saying that the agency supports discussions, the agency supports settlement agreements, and so if whatever we can do to facilitate the process, we are able to do that. We'll be able to assist in that process. All right, but thank you for your representation. All right, Ms. Na, any representation you need to make in the preliminary matters you need to make available?
Actually, just like Mr. Dixon says, we had actively, we had a meeting yesterday. We couldn't come out with a conclusion, but we will have another mediation meeting next Friday.
All right, that's fine.
Hopefully we can settle with something.
All right, thank you for that. All right, this matter then is scheduled. If the matter is not settled, we will have a protest hearing on September 22nd at 1:30 p.m. So, all right, September 22nd at 1:30 p.m. All right. Now that we have scheduled this matter for a protest hearing, there are a few things that I would like to instruct you about because the board's practices under the COVID-19 restrictions have changed. As you know, the board's hearings are conducted virtually, so it is more important than ever that protest hearings are focused and addresses only those issues that are being protested. Following this hearing, you will be receiving an email from Assistant General Counsel April Randall that will include a copy of a protest information form and a copy of an exhibit form, as well as specific instructions for the hearing. You are required to complete and submit the PIP and exhibit forms at least 7 days before the hearing. If we do not receive a copy of your forms 7 days before the hearing, your application or your protest may be subject to dismissal. These documents need to be submitted to abra.legal@dc.gov and to the opposing parties. Please know that these documents greatly assist the process, the board in narrowing the protest issues, facilitating the process, and keeping the parties on point during the hearing. Each side is limited to no more than 5 witnesses, and you will only have 60 minutes to present your case. This includes all direct and cross-examination. The board does not intend to hear testimony on matters that are not relevant to those issues that are being protested. Are there any questions?
No, sir.
Ronald Dixon, counsel for ANC 5D. No questions, Mr. Anderson. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We thank you greatly for your cooperation. If you have any questions at any time leading up to the hearing, please do not hesitate to contact Assistant General Counsel April Randall at 202-329-6354 or contact her by email. The board supports settlement agreements if you're able to do that. And I want to wish you good luck in your next mediation session. And if the matter cannot be settled, then we'll see you at a protest hearing on September 22nd at 1:30 p.m. Have a good day and thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Are we
you.
excused, Mr. Anderson?
Yes, Mr. Dixon.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. Yes. The next case in our calendar is case number 21 PRO 00041 King Avenue Liquors, license number 115969. This hearing has been canceled due to dismissal of the protest. See board order number 2021-370. The next case in our calendar is case number 21 PRO 000 260. Excuse me. Is there anyone online for Big Ben Liquors? Is there anyone online, Miss Andrews, for Big Ben Liquors? All right, well.
So far, no one, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. This hearing has been canceled due to dismissal of the protests. See board order number 2021-371. So this matter was dismissed due to dismissal of the protests. All right, so we have come to the end of our calendar for the day. So we will now do our legal agenda. All right, the first matter on our legal agenda is the review of the group of 5 or more's motion for reconsideration of the dismissal of its protest for lack of standing. This is in the Holiday Liquors license number 091095. I make a motion that we approve this motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that's been seconded by Mr. Short. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. The next matter is a review of Jocelyn Restaurant and Bar and Lounge's request for reinstatement of its canceled license. Jocelyn Restaurant Bar and Lounge, license number 099451. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. I will now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. The next matter on our legal agenda is a review of Pam Bakhe's request for reinstatement of protests. This is in Big Ben Liquors, license number 060652. I make a motion that we deny this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett and Mr. Grandis have seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 5-0. The next matter is review of applicant's opposition to Payam Bakai's request for reinstatement of protest. This is in Big Ben Liquors, license number 060652. This matter is now moot. The next matter on our legal agenda is a review of Association of Black Social Workers request for reinstatement of the protest. This is in Mart Liquors, license number 108836. I make a motion that we deny this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the, we have a roll call vote on this matter. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. All right. Let's wait a minute. I believe that board member Kada is about to join in. Miss
I'm on
Andrews,
standby.
can you let me know when board member Kada has joined in, please?
Sure.
I was told that he was dialing in. That's why I'm waiting. And so that's why I'm waiting to see how long it takes him to join us.
I'm still on standby, Mr. Chair. I'll let you know when he joins.
All right. What we're gonna, hold on, let's see. All right, what the board is gonna do, we're gonna take a break, and I'll ask board members to return to executive session, and then we will come back and conclude our legal agenda. So we will be in recess probably for the next 10 minutes, and I'll ask board members to go to executive session. All right, thank you. We're back on the record. The board now has 6 members who are participating in the rest of our agenda. Mr. Bobby Cater has joined us this morning. All right, so let's return to our legal agenda. The next matter on our legal agenda is a review of applicants' opposition to Association of Black Social Workers request for reinstatement of protest. This is in Mart Liquors, license number 108836. This matter is now moot. The next matter on our legal agenda is review of Local 16 request for reinstatement of the canceled license. This is Local 16, license number 060464. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter on our legal agenda is a review of La DeSales' request for reinstatement of its canceled license. This is La DeSales, license number 060751. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion that's been properly seconded by Ms. Crockett. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henderson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter on our legal agenda is a review of ANC 7B's request for continuance of the protest hearing status. This is in O'Connor's Liquors, license number 060231. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter is a review of ANC 7B's notice of withdrawal of the protest. This is in Lee's Liquors, license number 095751. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter is a review of an offer in compromise in lieu of a hearing dated June 29th, 2021. This is for Quilix Restaurant and Lounge, license number 00114. The offer in compromise is as follows. Charge 1, expanded operations to another floor, statutory authority, DC Code Section 25762B3. There is a fine of $1,000 to be paid within 120 days, or the license will be suspended until the fine has been paid. Charge number 2, violated the board's emergency rules, statutory authority 23 DCMR Section 810.2, DC Code Section 2582381. The fine is a fine of $1,000 to be paid within 120 days, or the license will be suspended until the fine has been paid. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed The next matter is the technical amendment notice of final rulemaking. I make a motion that the board approves this notice of the technical amendment notice of final rulemaking. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson agreed. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter on our legal agenda is the license and permit categories notice of final rulemaking. I make a motion that the board approves this. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. We now move to our licensing agenda. The first matter on our licensing agenda is a review application for safekeeping of license. This is for Costello Restaurant and Lounge, license number 100259. I make a motion to approve this request through March 31st, 2022. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett and Mr. Grandis have seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter on our agenda is a review application for class change from Retailer C Restaurant to Retailer C Tavern. This is Prather's on the Alley, license number 108886. I make a motion that we placard this matter. Is there a second?
Ed Grandis will second.
Mr. Grandis has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 6-0. The next matter on our agenda is review application for carry out and delivery endorsement. This is for Weezy Pizza, license number 082062. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett, a second. The motion will now have we will now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter is a review application for the carry out and delivery endorsement. This is for World Bank MC Building, license number 081024. I make a motion to approve this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short, I second the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote in the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
And Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. We now move to our supplemental licensing agenda. The first matter on our supplemental licensing agenda is a review request to remove license from safekeeping to reopen under transferee. This is ABRA 118648. The request has been made by Hillwood SR SRR 1324 14th Street LLC, license number 117256. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter is a review request for temporary operating retail permit. This is for Capital Liquors, license number 118826. I make a motion that we approve this request. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis. Mr. Grandis, you're on mute, sir.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next matter on our licensing agenda is a review application for a new ABC manager's license. This is James A. Fineski, license number 118802. I make a motion that we deny this request. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. We now move to our cancellation agenda. The first matter on our cancellation agenda is that the board will cancel the following license for the reasons outlined below. Rosa Mexicana, license number 060757. The licensee requests cancellation. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. The next request, a request made by Cheese Monster Studio LLC, license number 111360. The licensee requests cancellation. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. We now move to our temporary license and one-day substantial change docket. The first request on the board's temporary, this is what I'm going to do. There are 12 requests on this docket. I'm going to read all 12 requests, and will also state what is it that's been requested, and at the end of the list, I will ask that the board approve this. The first request, a request made by Miles D. Ryan. This is for one-day license class F. This is for a live music event with bands. This is on July 15th, 2021. The license number is 118797. The next request, a request made by Miles D. Ryan. This is a one-day license class F. This is a live one-day event with bands. This is on July 17th, 2021. License number is 118799. The third request, a request made by Elsa M. Bushen. This is a one-day license class F. This is for wedding, July 31st, 2021. License number is 118826. The next request, a request made by Simone Y. Smith, one-day license class G. This is on July 17th, 2021. The license number is 118755. The next request made by Michael Smith. This is the Summer Frolic event, July 30th, 2021. The license number is 118767. The next request, a request made by Ziamara A. Vargas Aconte. This is a one-day license class G. It's a festival. This is on July 31st, 2021. The license number is 118805. The next request is a request made by Latoya S. Brown, a one-day license class G. This is for dance on July 23rd, 2021. The license number is 118782. The next request is made by Jesse B. Roush. It's a one-day license class G. It's a hosting neighborhood events as an introduction to the community. The dates are July 29th, July 30th, July 31st, August 1st. The license number is 118807. The next request is a request made by Jesse B. Roush. It's for one-day license class G. It's again a hosting neighborhood event as an introduction to the community. The date of the event is August 5th, August 6th, August 7th, August 8th. The license number is 118808. The next request, a request made from OHBDC Limited Liability Company. This is a one-day substantial change. The private event on July 29th, 2021. The license number is 114148. The next request, a request made this is for the Caribbean Crawl. It's a pub crawl by Regmo Promo Holdings, Inc. This is on August 28th, 2021. The license number is 104072. The substantial change number is 21SC0096. The next request is a request made by District of Casamigos. This is a pub crawl by Good Bar Crawls. The event is August 21st, 2021, and the license number is 112754. And the substantial change number is 21SC00685. I therefore make a motion that the ABC board approves the requests that are on our one-day temporary and substantial change docket. Is there a second?
Ed Grandis will second.
Mr. Grandis will second. The motion will now have a roll call vote on the motion that's been properly seconded by Mr. Grandis. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0-0. We now move toward the administrative docket. The administrative docket has 16 requests. I'm going to read the applicants, the class category, and the request that's been made. At the end of the docket, I'm going to make a motion that the ABC board approves the changes that are being requested. The first request is a request made by Camelot to license number 001449. They are a Retailer C nightclub. This is a letter of request to remove Officer Nicholas Trantis as vice president. The next request is a request made by Kashbar Cafe Lido Pizza Restaurant, license number 074333. They are a Retailer C restaurant. Trade name change application to Kashbar Cafe. The next request, a request made by Hewitt Ethiopian Restaurant and Market, license number 100297. They are a Retailer C restaurant. This is a trade name change application. The new name is Hewitt Ethiopian Restaurant, Market, and Dream Lounge. The next request, a request made by Lorna D. Galvez. This is for import license. The import license number is 21IMP00023. This is a personal importation permit application. The next request, a request made by Joseph Byrne. It's again for an import permit. The license number is 21IMP00022. Again for personal importation permit application. The next request is a request made by Sarah Skopush Skorupushki. This is for another personal importation permit application. The license number is 21 IMP 00021. The next request, a request made by Had Thai Restaurant, license number 021540. It's a retailer C restaurant, sidewalk cafe endorsement application. The next request, a request made by Breakthrough Beverage, license number 060518. They are wholesaler A. This is a gift and loan application, tailgate grill. The next request, a request made by Brown Foreman, license Brown Foreman. They are an out-of-state manufacturer, gift and loan application, on-site sampling events, $250 per event to each customer. The next request, a request made by Wasted Wives, license number 118177. They are a retailer B Internet, new ABC license application. The next request, a request is made by Play Off Pizza, license number 116268. They are retailer C Tavern. They are new ABC license application. The next request, a request made by Bar Sparrow, license number 118148. They're a retailer C restaurant. This is a new ABC license application. The next request, a request made by Duffy's Irish Pub, license number 118030. They're a retailer C Tavern, new ABC license application. The next request, a request made from Bread and Chocolate, license number 094780. They're retailer D restaurant. This is a stock transfer application. Then the next request, a request made by Courtyard Washington Capitol Hill Navy Yard, license number 118590. They are retailer C hotel. This is a transfer with sale application. And the last request, a request made by Maze 64, license number 118648. They're a retailer C restaurant. This is a transfer with sale application. I therefore make a motion that the ABC board approves the requests on our docket. Is there a second?
Ms. Crockett seconds.
Ms. Crockett has second. The motion will now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short. You're on mute, Mr. Short.
What was the total number on that docket?
17, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passed 6-0. I believe we're now at the end of our calendar and agendas for the day. And if there are no other matters, I will formally close our meeting. As chairperson of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board for the District of Columbia, in accordance with Title III, Chapter 405, Office of Open Government, I move that ABC Board hold a closed meeting on July 21st, 2021, for the purpose of discussing and hearing reports concerning ongoing or planned investigations of alleged criminal or civil misconduct or violations of law or regulations, and seeking legal advice from our legal counsel on the board's investigative agenda, legal agenda, and licensing agenda for July 21st, 2021, as published in the DC Register on July 16th, 2021. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Cato.
Bobby Cato, I agree.
Ms. Crockett.
Rafi Crockett, I agree.
Ms. Henson.
Jenny Hansen, I agree.
Mr. Grandis.
Edward Grandis, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. The matter passes 6-0. As it appears that the motion has passed, I hereby give notice that the ABC Board will hold this aforementioned closed meeting. Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, notice will also be posted on the ABC Board hearing room bulletin board, placed on the electronic calendar and ABRA's website, and published in the DC Register in a timely manner as practical. We're now formally adjourned for the day. I would like to thank the board members for their active participation today. I'd also want to thank the members of the public who joined in to actively participate in this hearing. We are now formally adjourned, and I now instruct all board members to return to executive session for further developments. Thank you.